Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to take a moment just to introduce myself. My name is Scott Pugsley, and I'm the industry coordinator and a professor within the School of Fire Protection here at Seneca College. As you can see, there are a lot of resources that have been deployed to make this a safe and successful day. I think you can appreciate that once we light either one of these burn cells and get a fire started, there's really not an opportunity for us to say, pause, let's redo this and reposition. So to take a couple extra seconds while our firefighter students get prepared and finally located is well worth the extra 30 seconds of wait time. The goal of this event is to show you how quickly a fire can start and how it can quickly spread. And really, through this whole process, will show us certainly how vulnerable we are should a fire start near us in a room that we're in or in the home that we might be occupying. And certainly throughout this whole event, we're looking to be able to share some tips with you for how you may be able to lessen your risk of a fire-related injury or, worst case, a fire-related death. So with that being said, on behalf of the School of Fire Protection, Seneca residents, it's my great pleasure to welcome you here this afternoon and to witness this important fire safety event. So welcome to our third annual Live Burn 2017 during Fire Prevention Week. Oh, that'll happen, don't worry. As I mentioned before, the intent of this demonstration is to show everyone on campus and our guests that are here for the particular day how quickly things can spread. So not only are we recording this for all posterity, but we're also streaming this. And for those of you who are doing various social media, by all means, share this so we get this message across. Today we have representatives from a lot of different fire protection companies, and we've been able to embrace a good portion of our fire protection community with guests that are visiting today. We're very glad to have support from Viking Fire Protection, who have helped us with providing fire sprinklers in our protected unit, as well as we have guests and senior executives from the college, several deans, chairs, and as I see in the crowd, Mr. Agnew's joined us to witness this demonstration also. Additionally, I'd like to welcome the Ontario chapter of the Canadian Fire Alarm Association today. They're holding an educational symposium in the Great Hall, and we've been able to integrate these two events to not only have our student population witness this, but to have about another 140 people from the Canadian Fire Alarm Association see this also. Today, I'm also very glad to be able to have a close friend of mine in attendance. Mr. Shane Mintz is the Canadian Regional Director for NFPA, and in between our two burns, Shane's going to be addressing the group with some additional fire safety information. Well, we had no rain, but we got lots of wind, so I'm going to count this as a win regardless. All right. So as much as I've said a lot of important people who are here, the most important people are certainly our students. We can't take any of this fire protection. The concepts, our reliance on safety systems have to be as a fail-safe. We're responsible for our own safety, and that's something I frequently tell all of my students. To put it in context for our student population, in the last 6 years, there's been over 3,870 documented fires in dorms, fraternities, and sororities as per NFPA. That is a significant number of fires that are largely going unreported because they're in a community where it just might not be making the news. But the fact that we have so many in a 6-year period and those numbers continue are devastating and frightening to me overall. Even in a 15-year period within those 3,800 fires, there were just about 90 students, there were 90 fatal fires and 125 students died. So for those of us who think this is just something we're going to see once or twice a year, I really want us to hammer home that idea that we are very vulnerable and these things can happen to us. We might not see it, but these do happen in our communities more frequently than any of us would like to admit. So what you see before us, so to have a complete explanation, there are two identically decorated and constructed burn cells. They're approximately 8 by 8 in size, and in this particular case, we have them lovingly furnished with beds and couches and some TVs, nothing more than what you'd see in an average room. The plexiglass that's been installed in front of both is really just to help replicate what that final enclosed wall would be. It's not often do you have only 3 walls in your room, so we're putting some plexiglass in there to help give us some containment. And really, at the end of the day, we want us to see how this is all going to grow quite quickly. So we have a timer in front that's been made accessible to us through Varsity Sports and Seneca Sports. Yeah. As well, through this, we'll see the timer clicking away, and then we'll have some readings for thermal cameras. So you really didn't come here to see me or hear me talk. So let's start some things. So once we have this ignition, I just want us to bear in mind, as you're going to see with a small little electrical fire, you've just flopped onto your bed. That activity flopping on your bed has jarred a cord loose that's against the back wall, and very shortly after this, we'll have a fire start behind the bed and quickly move up the curtain wall. 22 seconds for a smoke detector operation, that's phenomenal. That is our first early warning, and really getting out is going to be something we should be doing right now. So the rooms are identical, the ignition source is identical, the wind probably won't be as friendly, and it'll kick up left to right a little bit more, but that's fine.
Fahrenheit.
So this sprinkler is designed to go off at 155 degrees Fahrenheit. And what you've just seen is 45 seconds later, from the ceiling temperatures becoming hot enough, our fire sprinkler has operated, is cooling down the ceiling temperatures. Most metro
75.
fire departments have an average response time from an alarm from their door to your door in about 7 to 10 minutes. Within a minute, we're seeing a lot more smoke, and it's becoming very inhospitable. As you see the room start to fill with smoke, you're seeing a lot of different products of combustion, different levels of carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide. If we were to encounter a fire event like this, certainly the goal is to hear our smoke detector, stay low, get out, get to your family meeting place. We don't tweet, we don't do instant chat, we don't do anything like that. We get out first. But being able to have the contrast from one
We're at
completely
200
destroyed
degrees
room
Fahrenheit
to
on
what
the
we
ceiling.
have on our fire sprinkler protected side. So I'm not sure how well your skin does with high temperatures, but a beach in the middle of the summer about as hot as I would like to get, 200 degrees, you're seeing first and second degree burns on our skin. It's very, very critical.
350.
Very, very critical to be able to hear that detector and get out. Now, what you're also not hearing any longer, which is unfortunate, that smoke alarm has now been superheated and has melted off the ceiling and no longer works. So you had less than a minute and 45 seconds to try to hear that alarm and actually get out. After that, the alarm is just melted. Now, it's very, very important that the fire department continues to roll to that particular house. So we're going to just hit this once quickly with a hose just to make sure that the fire is entirely out. And normal fire department activities would still require you to have them make entry and complete these overhaul tasks.
370 degrees Fahrenheit.
So again, just because I have a fire sprinkler system in my home doesn't mean that the fire department doesn't roll. So at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, we're instantly having third-degree burns, the human tissue decays on contact. Not to get too morbid, but you're not going to walk this off. As this fire continues to grow, the room temperature will escalate quite quickly, and you're about to see a phenomenon called flashover, where all the contents in this room...
883.
Folks, this is 3 minutes later. 3 minutes later, you do not have time to get out. You have to act very, very quickly. All right. I'm going to ask our suppression team to go in and extinguish this fire, please. That was just the TV. Now, again, as I was describing before, the typical fire department has a response of 7 to 10 minutes. Once they arrive, they have to establish a water supply, be able to make primary search. They're looking for you before they're sometimes immediately applying water. So the techniques you're seeing these students do are what any other fire department in our communities would be doing. They're going to completely apply water to this fire like they would in any other attack scenario. The volume of water from an average fire hose is about 250 gallons a minute. Now, I want to make it perfectly clear. Great job, Seneca College pre-service students. It's a little early to take a bow, but why not? Having an opportunity to have this event done in conjunction with the Seneca Res, as well as all of our other supporters and stakeholders, is a significant accomplishment, and I don't want to give them a big pat on the back quite yet, but What you see in front of you is been done with our fire service technicians, our fire protection engineering students. The construction of this is a complete internal project for us. It's quite a contrast. If you guys want to hang on to that, I'm going to try to do some review of the contents shortly after, see if I can find that smoke alarm. I don't think I can return it now, but it's done its job. In all fairness, it's absolutely done its job. The importance of being able to pay attention and have those devices in place are really our only chance. It's going to be the only thing that's going to wake you up in the middle of the night, and having a detector that has the proper manufacturing year, that within 10 years, that's the time frame now. Just because you have a brand new a new battery in it, doesn't mean that it's going to work properly. Every 10 years, your smoke alarms have to be replaced. I just did that in my own parents' house. We have 6 detectors, but with a brand new battery and an old detector, it doesn't make it good again. It has to be a detector or an alarm rather, that is within 10 years, and a battery change, depending on the style you're buying. Some have 10-year life expectancies for the batteries, and some should be changed in a conventional cycle of every time change. What I really want everyone to sort of think of this as a takeaway is to understand that we have smoke alarms that will give us that initial first alert, that little bit of a notice, but it's not going to be enough. Being able to take the steps and have an established fire safety plan so that we can hear that, we gather our loved ones up, and we exit and vacate the home or the area as quickly as possible has to be done. The theme of the Fire Prevention Week this year is no two ways out. I do certainly want to be able to thank a lot of different people who helped contribute for the event. I'm on the microphone for a little bit, but the people in the background with Seneca Events, our media team, Seneca residents, all of the other fire and life safety partners that are in attendance, I want to thank you for your support. Viking Fire Protection, again, I want to thank you certainly. This event is done in conjunction with the Home Fire Sprinkler Coalition, Toronto Fire Service, and certainly the School of Fire Protection has multiple resources. Thank you all for attending, and I hope for the duration of this week, we can have a little bit more thought behind fire safety during Fire Prevention Week. Thank you, everyone.